what's going on here? Let's dive into this wick, right? So this is the most fascinating thing about trading. This is my favorite part of trading. It's being able to look at a candle and dissect it into what the market is printing in real time. Because a candle by itself, by definition, a candle is just a picturesque version of what the markets are trying to do, right? Or what the markets have already done. But the reality is you can have a green candle like this, and inside the green candle is the story. So if you're not reading the story, or you don't at least understand the main characters, you can never understand the moral of the story. You can never really understand what's going on. And if you can't understand what's going on, then it's just a matter of time before you become like an ATM machine for those who do. So one thing I've often said is those who choose to trade without the order flow end up paying those who do on a long enough time horizon. Now that key is the long enough time horizon, because the market is at the end of the day buying or selling, so you can be rewarded for things that don't work. Now that's the biggest problem, is that the market rewards people who don't trade with the order flow, and that's one of the biggest problems. But when you have a sound understanding of order flow, and order flow isn't complicated, you literally need to read the delta, something which I call the delta, which I've made other videos about. But what you want to understand is that if you are trading key levels with price action, if you're actually trading price action, you have to read the price action. And reading the price action comes down to the bid and the ask, the delta, the aggression, and then you detect zeros. That's what read stands for. I've made separate videos on that. So if you look here, this was a green candle. Half of the candle was full of aggressive selling. So we had the same sort of idea over here now. So lots of red delta, especially in this wick, right? Lots of red delta, tons of aggressive sellers, and we had a lack of follow through, right? We had a lack of follow through, because if we had follow through, we would have broken below here. But the fact that we broke above here means that those sellers failed. This is what we call an absorption of liquidity, or liquidity absorption. So instead of thinking about it in terms of sweeps, you want to think about it in terms of absorption, because liquidity exists everywhere. So you want to define your level and look for specific areas of absorption based off those levels, right? You're not looking for sweeps, right? That's not valid. You're not looking for sweeps. You cannot trade sweeps because they exist everywhere by definition. This is a sweep, right? But what confirms the sweep? What really confirms a sweep is this. It's the insides of the candle that give you confidence, right? That's the only way to get around it. So this here and this here was the reason why step 4, once you have your liquidity absorption, you then want to pull the trigger, right? And pulling the trigger is important. So if you hesitate with trades, or you have a fear of loss, or you have a fear of, getting in too early or getting in too late, it's because one of your processes are off. Either your level's off, your read of the market's off, you're not using footprint charts, you're not using a structured execution plan, something is off. So if you're not pulling the trigger after you've seen everything, either size down or try and understand where your levels are, right? That's the best way to go about it. So now from here, we've completed the bolt breakout blueprint. So we've gone through all 4 steps. Right, in real time, I was looking at all these steps, right? So I risked about 438 to make just